Now at 5:58, we do have some breaking news we're starting with this morning.
Pete Michaels has an eye on this, tracking a crash on I-40 near downtown. Pete, good morning. What can you tell us so far?
I can tell you that I-40 westbound is blocked. Now I'm going to try to. Okay, we're trying to get you a live shot. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, guys. Here, we're going to move as we do this speed. See if the shot will come in for you at all on this car cam shot, and then we'll reset it if we have to. But the I-40 westbound is completely blocked. Right at I-275. So if you're coming 40 westbound, you will not be able to come through downtown Knoxville. If you're southbound at 275, you will not be able to turn westbound through downtown Knoxville. Eastbound, you're okay. Southbound 275, they're going to take you probably either eastbound or into downtown Knoxville. That's the problem right now. So if you do not have the shot for me, I'll give you a couple of minutes. Let me try to reset this, and we'll get back to you in just a few minutes. I'm Pete Michaels, pilot, VLC Local 8 Traffic.
All right, thank you so much, Pete. And also just into our newsroom this morning, our first video of the storm damage out of Middle Tennessee. The rain that's fallen here in East Tennessee first started out west. At least one tornado was confirmed over in Perry County. The U.S. National Weather Service in Nashville, they're gathering storm damage reports and pictures to determine if other tornadoes did touch down. A home in Waverly, Tennessee sustained significant damage to the roof and windows after a large tree snapped in two and fell. No one was hurt inside that building.
And already hearing about deaths because of these storms, and we know two at least blamed on the tornadoes in other states. Some of the worst damage in Arkansas, where at least two tornadoes were reported. One person died. The other death happened in Alabama. A state of emergency has already been declared in Louisiana this morning.
All right, now we've heard Heather talking about this storm that's coming our way and what it's going to be doing for the rest of the day. We want to make sure that you're prepared. So, for example, take a look at the cell phone video shot in West Tennessee's in McNairy County. A storm making its way through a field there. It's unclear how much damage that caused or if anyone was hurt, but we're going to continue to monitor things out there. Also, here's a better look at the destruction from a tornado in Arkansas. The National Weather Service forecasts 21 million people could be in the path of heavy rain, damaging winds, and possible tornadoes. And right here in East Tennessee, the National Weather Service in Morristown has been monitoring the storm system for the past couple of days, and experts saying that it's important to remember severe thunderstorms. They can produce winds just as strong as tornadoes. Now, when the rain softens the ground, those winds can make it easier to take down some trees and the utility poles, so please be careful.
Just seeing the damage there, you think about what we could see here, and that includes your power might even go out.
Yeah, and that means you would not be able to watch the updates from Heather or John Carroll here at WVLT. But the good news is we've got technology on our side. Those of you who have smartphones, remember you can always stream us live on local8now.com or the Local 8 Now app. Also, you can sign up for text alerts that keep you informed as to where to go to a safe place, when to get out of that safe place, things like that. You can also stay up to date on Facebook and Twitter.
And we do remind you, if you see something, you can safely take a picture or video to send it to us as well on social media. You know, also this morning, the big talker, Ebola. The president has been urging security, his health advisors, to use lessons learned from the Ebola cases in Texas to help stop the spread of the U.S. disease that we're seeing here. Now,
the move comes as the first person to contract Ebola in the U.S. has received help from an Ebola survivor.
And with an eye on your health, here's Melissa Lee with the latest on all we know so far this morning.
Yeah, guys, a Dallas nurse has received plasma to fight Ebola from the blood of American doctor Kent Brantley, who recovered from the disease. 26-year-old Nina Pham became the first person to contract the Ebola virus in the United States while she cared for Thomas Eric Duncan, the Liberian man who died last week. Now, so far, it's unknown exactly how Pham contracted the virus. Hospital officials say she wore a gown, gloves, mask, and shield while she treated Duncan. The CDC is investigating but believes at some point protocol was breached.
The enemy here is a virus, Ebola. It's not a person, it's not a country, it's not a place, it's not a hospital, it's a virus.
President Obama is urging national security and public health officials to take lessons learned from Pham's case to ramp up the nation's response to fight the virus.
CDC Director Dr. Thomas Frieden says he won't be surprised if other healthcare workers who came into contact with Duncan contract Ebola. The CDC is urging U.S. hospitals to be on the lookout for people arriving into the U.S. from Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea who display symptoms of Ebola. And bags of Nina Pham sheets, clothes, and things that Ebola victim Eric Duncan may have touched or soiled have been hauled away, disinfected, and placed into 55-gallon drums. They'll now be burned to ashes. Louisiana's Attorney General says he doesn't want the ashes brought to a landfill in his state, despite a guarantee from the waste company that incineration kills the virus. And in Canada, health officials say test results for a patient suspected of having Ebola have come back negative. But another person with Ebola-like symptoms is currently in isolation awaiting test results. Canadian researchers developed a vaccine that has moved into the clinical trial phase Monday. 40 healthy volunteers are taking part in the trial at Walter Reed Medical Institute in Maryland. And with all of this talk of Ebola, I decided to look into where the name actually came from. It's somewhat random. A group of researchers studying the virus tossed around a few different names. The virus actually surfaced in the Yambuku village, but researchers didn't want to risk stigmatizing the village by naming it the same thing. So others suggested calling it the Congo, but a similar name already exists. Scientists looked at a map. They thought the closest river to the village was called Ebola, which means Black River. Turns out the map was wrong. It was inaccurate, but they were so tired that they decided to keep the name anyway.
And it stuck.
Yeah. And there's certainly so much to cover with this, the fight against Ebola, especially with the concerns here in the U.S. So, Melissa, you'll be back at 6:30 with more?
Yes.
All right, looking forward to that.
California high school senior broke his leg during a football game, but when the doctor examined his x-rays, they found more than just a broken bone.
Angel Hempel has the story.
It helps out a lot knowing that, my recovery is already at hand and it's already taking place.
Max O'Rourke may be laid up in a hospital bed healing from surgery, but he's still sporting his Rockland High School football pride.
Up until this point, I had only missed one game ever in my entire football career. It just sucks not being out there anymore.
The 17-year-old starting quarterback got here after a relatively routine tackle from a defender during Friday night's football game. This is video of him going down.
Oh my gosh, I can't feel my leg at all. And that's where, I realized this is a pretty big injury.
Max was taken to the hospital for a broken femur, where doctors then made a troubling discovery from his x-rays, a large tumor in his right leg.
It's surprising just knowing that that's been in my body this whole time and I've been able to kind of fully function without noticing it.
Doctors discovered the tumor was benign, but Max's injury has taken him from starter to sidelines during his senior year football season.
I didn't expect to be in this situation, but here I am. And you can either live with it or you can just be angry at the world. And I chose, to live with it and to be positive.
His high school football career may be over, and his future as a college football player is, at this point, on hold. But Max chooses not to let this break him.
God has a plan for me, and it's basically just, this injury happened for a reason.
All right, switching gears here, an East Tennessee woman proving you are never too old for adventure.
No, Dee Allen from Grossville, she just celebrated her 80th birthday. She's doing well, and she did this all in style.
With a lot of bravery, too. Allen decided she would do something she's never done before. Jump out of an airplane.
Hey, why not? I'm 80. I think I'll jump out of a plane, right? Well, she says it was something she's always thought that, might be fun. So when her birthday rolled around, she took to the skies and took the plunge.
Because I'd seen these other older people doing it. And I said, gee, that looks like... Oh, and the biggest thing that made me say, I can do this, because I used to say, how do people dare do that? Was that I realized I'm not going to be in control.
And a lot of people asking, what's the secret here to living such a full life? Well, she says that it boils down to three things. Go to bed early, get up early, and live an active, healthy lifestyle. Do that, and jumping out of an airplane at 80, well, should be no problem.
Hey, we got two of those things down. We go to bed early and wake up early, don't we?
Yeah, we're doing good on those parts, but...
Come on, Spike. Good morning and welcome back, everyone. We've got Amber Mullins with the Humane Society of the Tennessee Valley. She's joining us with Spike. He needs no introduction. Good morning, Spike. Amber, tell us about him. He's the friendliest dog.
He is very sweet. He's about 3 to 4 years old, we think. He is some sort of terrier mix. We're not really sure what all he's got in there. He's got some interesting hair.
Is this why we call him Spike?
Yes. Yeah. He's got like a mohawk down his back. But he actually actually came to us with a broken rib. So he spent a couple of weeks where he couldn't be adopted because he had a broken rib, and we were kind of letting it heal on its own because there really wasn't a whole lot we could do for it.
Well, you'd never know now.
No, you would have no idea now. He is perfectly fine and he's ready to go home.
Okay, great. So we're also talking about a very important issue regarding our pets this morning, weight management, right? Okay, I could probably use a lesson in this with my dog. So what can you tell us?
The main thing to remember, and Spike, of course, is not overweight, so a good way to kind of tell if you think your dog may or may not be overweight, come on, buddy, come on, is when you look at them from the back and you're kind of looking down on them, if you can see their ribs but not necessarily feel them. Like you kind of want to see the dip kind of go down to their hips, but you don't want to feel each individual rib. So that's kind of how you can tell if they're getting overweight or not. And if you think that they are, talk to your veterinarian and tell them, be honest, say this is what we're feeding, this is how much we're feeding, these are the treats they get. Table scraps are a big no-no. So be honest with your veterinarian and they can put you on a plan to kind of slowly get the weight off.
Okay.
But it's just like with people. It's the right diet, the right amount of the food, and then it's also exercise. So make sure you're walking, running, playing, that sort of thing.
So we've got to maintain just like humans.
Yes.
All right. And we can get more information on Spike at the...
Yes. You can visit our website, which is Humane Society Tennessee, or you can visit him at our Kingston Pike location.
I might have to keep them for myself. All right, we'll be right back after this.
Heather, the wreck occurred on the Interstate 40 westbound, just west of 275, about a half hour ago. And you can see from this shot, well, I'll try to illustrate it, the westbound side of I-40 has been blocked just west of 275. That means all traffic coming southbound on 275 is being diverted into downtown Knoxville. If you are on I-40 eastbound, you will be able to continue through downtown Knoxville. But through this TDOT camera, you can see that they're trying to move. So they were trying to move some traffic through this area and the left lane. I don't see that happening at the moment. Here's another shot. This is the backup back at Baxter Avenue. What's happening here? You come by Baxter Avenue, and they're going to push you to the right side to get you to go through the heart of downtown Knoxville. And at that point, you got to take your alternate, depending which direction you like to go. But if you want to go back to that first shot again, that'll actually show you that there are 3 tractor trailers that are heavily damaged, right under. That's right under the Western Avenue overpass, and you can see the eastbound side is okay. We'll keep you updated, and we'll try to set up some additional shots for you here momentarily. I'm Pete Michaels, Pilot's Pilot, VLT Local 8 Traffic.
All right, thank you so much, Pete. Well, it is so busy over in the Smokies that a lot of times, if you're ever coming back to Knoxville, it takes a lot longer than it used to.
Oh, yeah, you might find yourself sitting in that traffic, but it turns out attractions, they're packed. And many are saying it is just adding to a really big year for our economy. And keeping an eye on the economy is local news reporter Kyle Granger, who shows us why people are crowding to the Smokies for more than just the attractions.
It's a holiday weekend, but for Susan and Andy Wells, they've been waiting to be here for years. She's been asking her family what the mountains look like. Now she sees it in person.
He'd say, sis, he said, it looks like a bowl of Fruit Loops. I was like, oh, darn, I wish I could make it, wish I could make it.
But everyone is also looking around at all the people.
Oh, now that is.
Does that ever change? I don't think that's ever changed.
There's a lot of people.
And the traffic coming into town isn't expected to slow down. Some hotel owners say that they expect this to be one of the best Octobers ever.
You know, I've been around this area since 1982. It's probably as strong as it's ever been. This hotel filled up both Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night.
What Carl Thomas describes as unbelievably good. Andy says this weekend will be full at the Inn on the River, and bookings for the rest of the year are up.
I think July was probably the best July ever. It looks like October's trending to be the best October that this Sevier County's ever had in its history.
These folks are slightly early for the peak, but thankful to be able to see the rainbow of colors nature has already provided.
But we come last year, I guess, about the middle of October, and they were much more colorful.
This is heaven on earth right here. It's the mountains and the fall foliage, and yeah, it reminds me of a good childhood memory since my mom was from up this way.
That she'll take back home and share with others. In Gatlinburg, Kyle Granger, VLT, Local 8 News.
And Kyle expects to get updated numbers from Pigeon Forge on Thursday, so we'll bring those to you then.
Yeah, and also the leaves, the rain already starting to impact the color change. Certainly beautiful out there this time of year.
Gorgeous.
All right, it may only be a few dollars per month.
But over the course of time, those little extra bucks, they can add up at the bank.
Oh, yeah. So we've got some tips to save you some money this morning if you're looking to cut some of those bank fees out of your life, because we all kind of want to get rid of some of those. On average, we know that a customer will pay nearly $3 to another bank just to use their ATM, plus another $50 to have their own bank. So getting close to $5 just to take your own money out of the bank.
Don't be doing that. Get it for free. All right, that may not seem like a lot of money, but then you really think about how many times per year you do it.
Right.
And for many of us, those fees can quickly add up.
So if you do have a smartphone, they say try to download your bank's app, because that will likely have a function that maps out the branches of your ATMs in your network, so you're not going to end up spending that extra money at another bank's ATM.
Also, try to skip the ATM if you can't find a bank branch. Make a debit purchase at the grocery store. I've done this before. You buy a piece of gum, get 20 bucks back in cash.
And then you don't have to make an extra trip to the ATM.
Exactly, yeah.
Another kind of fee that can easily be avoided are those dreaded overdraft charges. So just plan out your cash spending, check your receipts. I know I'm really bad about this. I recently got an app which has helped me tremendously just to manage and keep up with things. Overdraft fees, they can average about $30.
Yeah.
So.
And if you don't know and you did 5 purchases that day, 30 times 5, that adds up real quick.
Will you start holding my card for me throughout the day so I don't spend anything? All right, when we come back, of course, the big story of the day is weather. A lot going on out there. We're hearing the rain showers even here in West Knoxville right now.
Also, we're watching headlines from around the country as health officials try to stop the spread of Ebola, which is huge right now.
Following that breaking news at 6:30, and we want to get right back out to him.
Yeah, and Pete, you've been seeing this minutes after it happened. What can you tell us so far about that wreck on I-40?
This is where it happened. This 3 tractor trailers crashed about 45 minutes ago, westbound, just west of the Western Avenue overpass. 75 north at Emory. I'm getting another report of a bad wreck. We'll show you the video. We have 3 tractor trailers completely blocking I-40 westbound, and that's going to be just west of 275, just west of 275. Those of you that are moving southbound on 275, they're exiting traffic off at I-40, at 275 into downtown Knoxville. A little bit distracted here because we're out in the middle of this mess. You can see that the traffic on I-40 eastbound is moving fine through the area. Those that are running in on 275 are going to be taken right into downtown Knoxville. So if you're I-40 West coming into downtown, you're going to have to go either well, I don't know if they even know if they're going to let you go out to I-40 East or not, but they're going to make you come into downtown Knoxville to try to avoid this mess. We've got a couple of quick TDOT shots as well to show you a little different angle on this mess. Those of you that are running in or looking at the TDOT cameras, you'll see that it's shot along I-40 is westbound downtown. Not going to get that. We'll have an update here shortly. This could be a live shot from one of our other ground crews as well. Pete Michaels, Pilot, VLT Local 8 Traffic.
All right, Pete, also this morning, we're getting a better look after one tornado was confirmed over in Perry County. Now, the U.S. National Weather Service in Nashville was gathering storm damage reports and pictures from around the area at latest checks, still trying to determine if there were other tornadoes that touched down. But a home in Waverly, Tennessee, we know sustained significant damage to the roof and window after a large tree snapped into 2 and fell. No one was hurt inside that home.
As we prepare for the storms here in East Tennessee, at least 2 deaths are being blamed on tornadoes in other states. Take a look at some of the worst damage in Arkansas, where at least 2 tornadoes were reported and 1 person died. The other death happened in Alabama. That was a state of emergency that has also been declared in Louisiana.
And one thing that comes along with this kind of weather, we're talking flooding, wet roads. We know that can make very dangerous driving situations, as we've already seen this morning, as Pete Michaels was just showing us. And just past this weekend, 2 people died in different wrecks in East Tennessee. Several others ended up in area hospitals. So we wanted to know when it rains, what you can do to stay safe. We did get some answers from local experts. They say a lot of times it's as simple as watching out for other drivers.
Adjust your speed and position. The only space you actually can control is the one in front of your car. But if someone is next to you, you can maybe adjust your speed 1 mile an hour up or 1 mile an hour down and get away from that person a little bit. If someone's directly behind you and they're making you a little nervous, move 1 lane to the right and let them go by.
And they also go on to suggest just being a defensive driver because others may be reckless. Stay far enough back or move to another lane.
Now, with severe weather rolling your way, power may go out. That means you can't watch the TV, you can't find out what Heather Haley's saying about the forecast. But for those of us who do have these smartphones, great idea to remember. It's a great thing to remember that you can stream us live on local8now.com. You can also use the Local 8 Now app. That's got a feature that's real simple. There's a button that says stream live. Boom, you hit it and you're good to go. Also a reminder, you can stay up to date on Twitter if you follow us there or on our Facebook page.
All right, and other than the weather, the big story today is Ebola and the virus. We know the first person to contract Ebola in the U.S. is now getting help from the first person to bring it here.
Now, officials hope that treatment is going to give her a better chance at survival. With an eye on your health, Melissa Lee is now tracking all the latest details this morning.
The news photographer who contracted Ebola in West Africa described dark and profoundly frightening moments, writing in a Facebook post Monday that he will never know how he contracted the virus. Quote, "I had been taking precautions," he writes, "but obviously they weren't enough." Now, part of his treatment included a blood transfusion from Ebola survivor Dr. Kent Brantley. Officials hope the same will help Nina Pham, a nurse in Dallas who tested positive for the virus. The CDC says a break in protocol likely exposed Pham to the virus, and friends aren't sure how that could happen.
Knowing Nina, she's one of the most meticulous, thorough, effective nurses. Like, she taught me infection control and hand hygiene and protocol. Like, I learned so much of that from her.
When you come out of the room, you have potential contamination on your uniform. You're hot and tired and distracted, and so there again, someone meets you and says, "You're not going anywhere until I go through a checklist."
Another hospital in Texas says it's going beyond standard protocols to give its nurses and doctors added protection. Now, that training, they say, is underway. And with the holidays right around the corner, many people are probably already making some travel plans, and travel during this time of the year can mean long lines, large crowds, and more germs. Now, we're talking about the top myths about germs in airplanes, starting with the number 5 myth. Let's face it, there's not much I can do to protect myself when I'm trapped in an aircraft cabin. Now, the number 4 myth says the airlines have taken steps to ensure that passengers can't contract diseases like the Ebola virus in the aircraft. The number 3 myth, airlines clean the aircraft between flights. Number 2 says the bagged airline pillows and blankets are okay to use. And the number 1 myth regarding germs on airplanes, the most dangerous health hazard in the air is the cabin air itself.
All right, so those are all myths.
I'm just going to
Don't trust them.
Yeah, just not going to fly for a while. Anyways.
It's too expensive to fly in the wintertime anyways, usually, right?
And it is getting scary. You know, you think about the Ebola virus. It has everyone talking. And with another confirmed case here in the U.S., we're also talking to our medical officials here at UT about things that they're doing, precautions they're taking to be prepared just in case, because we just do not know at this point.
Right. And leaders here saying they don't expect to see Ebola here in East Tennessee, but they say if they do, they are going to be ready.
And here is the infectious disease personnel. They were addressing concerns after a nurse in Dallas that contracted the virus. We know UT does have the protective gear all ready to go. It includes the full body protection. That means the hat, the mask, the gloves. The medical center says they'll use the buddy system as well when they take those suits on and off, and that they can make sure that there's no breach of protocol like what we saw over in Dallas. They say they will also discard the suits by sterilization and incineration. We've also learned that a hospital in Dayton, Tennessee is testing 2 people for Ebola. Both men told doctors they had recently spent some time out of the country and were running fevers. Doctors feel like it's unlikely it is Ebola, but again, they're just taking all precautions just to make sure.
All right, let's head right back out to Pete Michaels. He's got a busy morning. Pete, you've got one accident, maybe another one. What can you tell us?
Well, there were a number of wrecks scattered around. What you're looking at, this is a southbound shot, 275 southbound, just before you get into downtown Knoxville. And what's happened here, the crash is on I-40 westbound in the heart of downtown. But what they're doing is they're taking traffic off of 275 south. You cannot go onto I-40 west because it's blocked. 275 south can go onto I-40 east or into downtown Knoxville. Now, what we'll do is take a look at a TDOT camera or two. And what you'll get a look at the actual wreck scene, which is going to be just west of 275. 3 tractor trailers that are heavily damaged. From time to time, they've been trying to move traffic by the wreck scene on the left-hand lane just to keep things moving. But either way, they're going to be here for a while. Here's another look at that as you look at the actual scene, 40 West. Eastbound is not affected. Other wrecks include 75 up at Emory Road, and talking about that one being a wreck with injury as well. And we'll check back shortly. And here's the backup. It's not quite as bad right now. It's just a slowdown right now near Baxter Avenue. They've got traffic funneling into downtown and off on the ramp to 40 East. 40 westbound blocked just west of 275. Pete Michaels, Pilot's Pilot. Good morning, everybody.
All right, welcome back with your news up to the minute you wake up. McDonald's, they want you to know why their burgers may never rot.
That's right. It's part of this latest campaign to break out of recent sales slump.
Yeah, they're trying to confront perceptions that they serve Frankenfood. Maybe you've seen one of the online videos of people leaving their food out for weeks and years, and it still
looks the same if you've seen any of those experiments.
Yep. Yeah, so they have now created a web page where you can submit your questions to the company, and they will publicly post responses. This is in response to people demanding more information about the food they are eating.
What's in your beef? Was that them or a different fast food restaurant back in the 80s or 90s? Where's your beef? Oh, it's Wendy's. Where's the beef? Anyways, what's in your beef is McDonald's new
the
thing
big
now.
question, yeah.
So did they ever answer this?
Yeah, what's the answer?
Well, according to the website, the burgers have dehydrated in order for mold to form. So I guess the burgers need water in order for the mold to happen.
But because they're dehydrated,
that
they don't.
doesn't happen.
You know, I was hungry before we started talking about this, guys.
That's why you always get a big thing of soda, because they're dehydrated.
I guess,
that's weird.
Yeah. Anyway, on a different note, you've probably never seen anyone enter a party like this before. Some are calling it the best party entrance of all time. John Van Horn, Matt Frolic, and Andy Lewis, all base jumpers, took a plunge off of the 1,099-foot Kuala Lumpur Tower in Malaysia, landing safely in a rooftop pool party on another building.
If I'm going to land anywhere, that's where I want to land.
You could not pay me enough to do that.
Oh, look at that.
No.
Oh, I'm dizzy.
That shot. Yeah, I can't handle
But
it.
I think it's safe to say they were probably the life of the party that evening.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What's up?
If they didn't have girlfriends, they probably have girlfriends now.
Rock star.
Yes. All right, good stuff. Hey, we're going to keep track of some breaking news on the roadways. We've got news when it comes to the weather as well. We're going to keep all that, all
Keeping
of you
up the conversation about Ebola, too.
And Ebola. All right, stick around.
Authorities are working this crash that occurred about an hour ago on I-40 westbound downtown at 275. Westbound on I-40 downtown at 275 is completely blocked. Eastbound is open. Eastbound has never been blocked at all. Eastbound through downtown is open and fine. Southbound 275 traffic is going to have to be diverted into downtown Knoxville or onto I-40 going eastbound. Traffic coming out of downtown Knoxville, you'll also be able to take I-40 east. Another wreck is going to be up on Emory Road, Emory Road at 75, but it's going to be a little while longer before they're able to reopen lanes of traffic on I-40 westbound through downtown. Lots of officers there to help you direct around toward alternates. I'm Pete Michaels, Pilot's Pilot, VLT Local 8 Traffic.
All right, another check with Pete and Heather coming up in just a bit. But first, we want to take a look at some of the events happening today. If you're looking for a job, some stuff going on.
2 companies are going to be hiring right here in Knoxville today.
Jewelry Television, they're looking for people to work over at their call center and warehouse. Applicants, you do need to be at least 18 years old. That hiring fair, again, today and tomorrow from 11 this morning until 4 both days. And the location is over at the Jewelry Television's headquarters on Parkside Drive.
Also, U.S. Cellular is looking for people to fill both part-time and full-time positions. There's going to be a hiring event starting at 10 this morning and go until 6 tonight. That's again happening at the U.S. Cellular store on Kingston Pike.
A big donation on the way for Alzheimer's Tennessee. Arby's will present a check for money raised. If you've ever bought one of the coupon books there, this is part of that campaign. The fundraiser will start again on Monday, October 27th. They're just $1 for $1 for that book, and it includes more than $25 in savings with the money helping Alzheimer's Tennessee. Also, the city revealing improvements to Chilhowie Park today. More than $300,000 project includes a new facility for restrooms, a covered area, and also picnic tables. That new area officially opening at 11:30 this morning.
And guess what today is?
What?
It's National Hug Day, so you get a side
Hug it out.
Hug it out, everybody.
Yeah, don't be surprised, though, if you're out in Market Square and some random person comes up to you and asks, hey, do you want a hug?
I know.
It is National Free Hug Day, and this is all part of that event.
And it's supposed to make you smile. The Paul Mitchell School, they're going to be taking part in all of this.
Yeah, the group will be at Market Square from 1 till 3 and then again from 5 to 7. So if you didn't get your hug the first time, go back, get another. The school leaders, when they sent out the information on this, they said they just want to spread a little joy, hopefully make somebody's day a little better with a simple gesture.
So go out, give a hug, receive a hug, and have a great day.
Maybe ask someone first, though, before you just hug them. Some good advice. We'll be right back with your news to go.
All right, before you head out the door at 6:56, here's your news to go. We start with the Texas nurse is the first person to contract Ebola in the U.S., and she received a blood transfusion from an American doctor who survived this disease.
Yeah, Nina Pham became infected after caring for Thomas Eric Duncan at the Dallas hospital. Duncan had died of Ebola last week, and health officials are now reviewing procedures for treating patients.
Already 2 people have died in a storm system now impacting East Tennessee. One of those deaths was in Arkansas, the other in Alabama. Several other people are hurt, and tens of thousands across the South and Midwest are waking up this morning without power. And we're getting a look at some video of the storm damage out of Middle Tennessee. At least one tornado was confirmed over in Perry County. A home in Waverly, Tennessee sustained significant damage to the roof and windows after a large tree snapped in two and fell, and no one was hurt inside that building.
And of course, since we're dealing with this type of weather, there's a good chance your power may go out. That means you might not be able to watch us on TV. So another resource for you, we remind you, is your phone. You can always check everything on local8now.com. You can live stream. You can get up to the minute information on our Facebook, our social pages. Join the Weather Vols group. You can sign up for alerts. There are plenty of ways to stay informed. And Heather, you always talk about just how important that is on days like this.
Yeah, because it is easy, especially for people maybe going to work. They have a weather radio at home, but you're not at home.
Yeah.
You know, that's why those free text alerts are pretty convenient. Most people have their phones with them all the time now. So it's a really easy way. Again, it's free, so it's real easy to do. 6:58 with your weather on the 8th. This is the current day planner. What we're looking at is, again, a lot of rainy, windy conditions to start, but that line of storms is really now just east of Nashville. So that's what's kind of that back edge here that's going to drive through, and that's what could be stronger to potentially severe as it moves through. I think we'll reach our high in Knoxville around 1 p.m., and then from there we'll start kind of calming down, clearing out as this all moves east. So we'll gradually cool down, not a big dramatic drop, but 75 degrees at 1 down to around 65 at 7 with the scattered showers kind of tapering off into the overnight. That's what I'm talking about here. It's rainy in Knoxville, got heavy downpours in McMinn and Monroe. There's been flooding issues all over Chattanooga, and then we've got that line of storm still just now moving out of the Nashville area, so that's on the way later. 66 right now in Knoxville. It's 70 in Morristown as the rain really moves in this morning too. It's cooling things off quite a bit. 67 in Crossville and Oak Ridge at the moment, 65 in Middlesboro. So we do flood watches all day, several inches of rain even possible for some. High wind warning in and along the Smokies. Windy conditions for everybody. Scattered showers and cooler tomorrow. So let's just get through today. Stay informed to stay safe.
All right. Thank you, Heather. And coming up next on CBS, will the Catholic Church change its attitude on same-sex marriage? A new Vatican document challenges the church's traditional deals.
We're also talking about Burger King apparently could have stolen one of the popular comedians' acts for their new commercial.
Also, an endangered bird in one state holding up a $200 million plan to preserve its beaches. But hey, more importantly, it is National Free Hug Day, so everybody find a friend
bring
and
it
hug
in.
it in.
Bring it in, everyone. We'll see you back at 7:25.